This is Nolan ATV, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, and welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel today. And let me tell you, well, we're getting the news from yesterday, should I say. Sunday's best is what David Pagnotta's column on the fourth period is entitled, and it finds the Oilers once again, well, me in particular, looking at trade rumor between the Edmonton Oilers and the Anaheim Ducks. This is more grounded. This is more founded in truth than the last one about Ryan Getzlaf, where I just kind of talked about what makes sense as opposed to what's possibly going to happen. So, to quote from the Sunday Best article on the fourthperiod.com by David Pagnotta is that you've got Rickard Rakell, who is signed to a 6-year, $22.8 million deal in October 2016. That would take him through the 2022 season, if I'm not mistaken. So this year plus next year for the Anaheim Ducks. And that means, well, whereas the Edmonton Oilers, looking at what that dollar amount means, that means 3.789444. That's the full number right there. Mr. Rickard Rakell is 27 years old, and let me pull up some quick stats for Rickard Rakell for you this year, and then we'll talk kind of what his situation is with the Anaheim Ducks, who are not doing so well. Of course, they haven't been doing well for a couple years now, but Rickard Rakell, a guy who has famously put up, I know I'm going to bust this one to you, 30 goal seasons before. Yes, I know how Oilers fans love their washed up 30 goal scorers. Trust me, I'm well aware. But as I get this ready for you, it's just one of those intriguing names on the market, right? Rickard Rakell, you go back like 4 years ago, we're talking big time name. Now you go back 4 years ago, he played in the playoffs against the Oilers. And oh yeah, that's a thing that happened. Yeah. So let me get Rakell stats for you here, and then let's go. In which he actually had 13 points in 15 playoff games. Yeah, that's a thing that happened. Rickard Rakell played against the Oilers in that playoff run back in 16-17. Now, if I can get this going somewhere, I would be able to find what I had here. Rakell stats. I'm not always the most organized, I promise you that. But hey, you know what? When you got to go yell about Oilers fans yelling about Mikko Koskinen, sometimes you get a little flustered, all right? And I'm going to blame that as I'm now hitting that, and I don't know what I'm doing here. What am I doing? Somebody tell me what I'm trying to do here, okay? Let's go. Rickard Rakell. You're not going to be able to read that, nor am I. So let's go here. This is Rickard Rakell's stats from the past couple of years. Okay, you see that? How about 31 points in a full season, 43, 51, 40 or 69, 43, 42, and 9. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Yeah. That's pretty reasonable numbers. I think at 3.8 million, we could all take some kind of number like that and make it work under the cap. And this is exactly back to David Pagnotta's column, essentially saying the teams that have interest in Rickard Rakell, the Bruins, Penguins, Leafs, and Oilers, are among the teams that have interest in a player, I'm quoting this right now, like Rakell, if they can make the money work. Obviously, we have to find a way to make the money work if you're the Oilers. And that money working, well, we have quite a bit of money left in the salary pool, although keep in mind that right now Patrick Russell's not counting against the cap. We don't really know what's going on with, Zach Kassian, when he'll be back. I don't know if I've gotten an update on that yet. Slater Cuckoo's out for the year, so you got some cap space there. William Lageson's on the IR. Alex Stalock's on the IR. Realistically, right, on defense, you're pretty much set unless you figure out something with Chris Russell and throw him on the taxi squad or something. And up front, you're pretty much set with what you've got at this point, unless you're to move out an Alex Chiasson, a James Neal, or somebody like a Jujhar Khaira or Josh Archibald, right? Somewhere in that range of players, those four close together paid, Kyle Turris even. We keep forgetting about him. We don't have an update on him much, I don't think, from Dave Tippett. So those are guys that are in that 1.2 to $5.75 million range on the Oilers cap friendly page. And you can talk about that, right? Those are the guys that you'd have to find a way to move should you acquire a guy like Rickard Rakell. You'd have to move probably 2, if not 3 of them somehow, some way to make it really work longer term. Because, right, especially if you're looking at Kyle Turris, James Neal, or else Josh Archibald, those are 3 guys signed through next year. Problem is, right, if you move a Jujhar Khaira, you move an Alex Chiasson, well, suddenly, yeah, okay, you're doing good, and they're not signed through the next year, so there's some potential there. But you don't want to give Jujhar Khaira, no matter what you think of him, to the Anaheim Ducks, especially if everything returns back to normal next year. And Alex Chiasson, take it or leave it, he's a UFA at the end of the year, but he's riding a little bit hot on the power play now, and that's not a move you want to make, to take that shot out of your power play unit and have to wait on yet another player to quarantine while you're still missing James Neal. So, right? Okay, we good? We've got it? We're covered there? I think we do. So we kind of see how this one's a lot more complicated, and yeah, the money thing's ugly. Everything's a little bit ugly with any move you possibly make. Go back to what I was saying, to get Getzlaf at half retained, you're probably giving up a first round pick. That's not going to sit well with a lot of Oilers fans. Problem is with Rickard Rakell, 27 years old, offensive stud for the Anaheim Ducks, in terms of the Anaheim Ducks offense, that is, I should say, for the past several years. And reasonable cap hit, excellent player. He's a right wing, left wing combination, so it looks like he's played both throughout his career. He's a right hand shot, right? Think about that. That's a solid place. I guess you could trade Zach Kassian as well. I didn't think to mention that. A first round draft pick back in 2011. Another Swede. He's a bigger body up front, 6 foot, 196. We'll take 200 pounds anytime we can get 200 pounds. And he's got an extra contract year. So that's where it gets really difficult, right? I can sit here and give you a package. It's obviously going to probably include a prospect, a guy worth cap in Chiasson or Jujhar Khaira at minimum, if not Zach Kassian in there, which you really don't want to do, I don't think. And then some kind of pick or some kind of other prospect. That's probably the bare minimum package, right? I mean, Anaheim's defense is getting stacked up quite quickly. Jamie Drysdale on the rise, but right, is it a defensive prospect? Is it a forward prospect? Maybe like a Raphael Lavoie that you give up and an Alex Chiasson. Maybe get something back out of Anaheim other than just Rakell. It really depends on how this package all fits together and what the salary cap implications are. If you're moving James Neal, kiss Raphael Lavoie goodbye, because he's gone. In any deal that involves James Neal to the Anaheim Ducks, it's either a first round pick or it is, Raphael Lavoie going to Anaheim for Rickard Rakell. So you already see this. This gets ugly very, very quick in my mind. That's where my mind just goes 2 spots at once, and neither of them are very nice. So that's the kind of scary part here, is this is not a player on the decline. This is not a player overpaid. This is not a player that's going to kill you if you acquire him at 27 years old. Keep in mind something here is where 9 points out of Rickard Rakell would put him on the Edmonton Oilers stats list for points leaders this season. Do you know where that would put him? That would put him tied with Jesse Puljujärvi in 7th spot in the Oilers lineup. That, you know what, on this team, it's an incredibly deeper list compared to normal, but 9 points is still good for 7th. And everybody's saying he's having a terrible year. Nobody's saying Jesse Puljujärvi's having a terrible year. Nobody's saying Kailer Yamamoto's having the worst year of his career with 11 points in 23 games, right? Nobody's saying Dominic Cahoon is the worst player the Oilers picked up in the free agent offseason because he's got 8 points, right? You see where I'm going? Is that it was an actual improvement over, maybe an Alex Chiasson, maybe like Kyle Turris, Zach Kassian definitely offensively, right? There's a lot to this that really gets us going in terms of, I could take that. Problem is, at what price? And that's where I will leave you this evening. So I haven't done my research on what other Oilers fans are offering the Ducks for Rickard Rakell. So wow me. Make it actually make sense. I know that's a tough task for Oilers fans most of the time. But wow me and give me something that makes sense. And maybe we'll revisit it in a week if those rumors are still there. We'll put together the best 5 or something if this is a really hot topic video. And my goodness, I know this video is going to do well. And what did I forget to mention? If you're new to the channel, now you're 10 minutes deep, consider hitting the subscribe button. That would be much appreciated. I'm Tyson, this is Stolony TV. Thanks for tuning in. I'm up on, out of here.